Welcome to WorldatWork TV. I'm Allison Avalos, and I'm joined today by Rose Stanley, WorldatWork practice leader. We're talking about wellness programs. With all the hype today, we'd like to dive into a little bit about what they are and what return organizations are seeing in the use of those programs. Rose, let's start off by talking about the types of wellness programs that are in use today. And is there a standard package, or is there a wide variety of the options being offered?
There's probably more of a wide variety. Many organizations offer some form of wellness programs, and it can be as simple as a health risk assessment that you fill out yourself, a paper form, and a lot of those are actually offered by vendors or through your insurance companies. And then they can get progressively more interesting. You can actually have a health risk assessment that is a biomedical assessment where you either go to a doctor's office, sometimes they come into the organization and they'll take your cholesterol and your weight and your sugar levels in order to find out where those are at. And then they can add programs after that, usually after the assessments are done. And the most common programs that are offered are diet and nutrition, physical activity type programs, and smoking cessation. And then they even offer such things as mental health and its well-being and other options such as that. Then we see some organizations that are even expanding their idea of what wellness is into a broader area. And we've called that well-being. We've even done a survey on that a couple of years ago. And what that is adding a few more elements to what we traditionally see as wellness. And when I say traditionally, I'm talking more of what we're referring to as the physical part of well-being or wellness, but we're adding things such as work-life balance. Are you getting enough vacation time? Do you have flexibility on your job? And then retirement-related type things, such as financial counseling or financial education. And then even into stress-related things such as yoga, meditation, EAPs. Most organizations are offering some form of EAPs. And then skill building, where you're helping with behavioral modification, learning how to deal with stress on the job and in your personal life. So those things are expanding. We're seeing a lot of improvements in what organizations feel is happening with their employees and perhaps with some costs that they're incurring especially when they expand some of these programs.
Okay, so we'll get to the return that comes with wellness programs. If you're looking at implementing wellness programs in your organization, what are some of the factors to consider?
Well, one of the things that we asked about, especially in this survey, is what were some common things that organizations were doing that found that they were having success with all of their programs. What we found was that simply enough, they were putting a strategy into place, which may sound as if somebody would automatically think of doing that, but some organizations were not doing that. They were also considering very closely what types of programs they were going to be offering, and not just doing the flavor of the day or competitively what they are offering next door or from a competitor's positioning. And then they were looking at some other things such as, how are we going to really determine whether we're successful in those things or not? So it's a very thoughtful process, and those organizations that were going through this were probably finding better results.
So what do we know about how to assess the return on the investment for wellness? And at the end of the day, are we seeing a return? Do most organizations find that there's a value add there when they've implemented these wellness programs?
Actually, Allison, that's a really good question, especially right now. There's been a lot of media attention to wellness programs. There has been a change within the PPACA, which is the healthcare reform package that offers some things for organizations to think about within their wellness programs. What we're finding is a lot of studies have been coming out to say, wait a minute, no, you're not actually getting a return on your investment for wellness programs when you're trying to lower healthcare costs. Some were actually seeing definite reductions when you were focusing on disease management, but maybe not so much when you were offering just lifestyle type wellness programs. Then there were other studies that significantly said the polar opposite. Yes, we are seeing actual returns and lowering of healthcare costs. So the answers are kind of all over the board, and that's where organizations really have to be thoughtful about what their success factors are that they're looking for, and in addition to the types of programs that they're offering. What we did see in our survey is that what they are currently measuring, and what you usually find the easiest and fastest thing to measure, are participation rates. Another thing that they would be, of course, looking at is lowering healthcare costs. So they are trying to measure that. And it is a challenge at times because you may not actually see a result for 3 to 5 years. Of course, some other ways that you may be able to look at whether you're having a return is to ask the employees through an employee satisfaction survey and to see how they feel about whether they are getting what they need out of a wellness program.
So you mentioned healthcare costs, and perhaps there is not a reduction. Is wellness still justified if you're not seeing a reduction in healthcare costs?
Well, you know, another interesting thing, several different things that we found in the survey that we did. First of all, we found at least 30% of the organizations don't measure anything. I thought that was kind of a high number, and a colleague of mine actually said that's not actually a high number. There are more organizations don't actually measure anything. So you do want to at least think about trying to do that. Now, in the survey, another interesting thing that we found was that those organizations that integrated several different types of wellness or well-being plans into their offerings, when I mentioned earlier the work-life balance, the stress reduction, the financial planning, and things like that, they actually saw a significant difference and a higher return in terms of lowering healthcare costs than their counterparts that were only offering wellness programs in the strictest sense of the word, which is that physical well-being. Another question that we asked was, what if you stopped offering medical programs in your organization? Would you then not offer any type of wellness programs? And overwhelmingly, the answer was no. They would still continue to offer wellness programs. And their top reason for offering them was not lowering medical costs, but it was to improve employees' health, because we feel that not only are you improving their health, but you're lowering absenteeism, you're increasing productivity, and you are creating a sense of engagement and loyalty from your employees.
So it sounds like the greater commitment up front, the more strategic about the approach, and that commitment to measuring on the back end really starts to equate to wellness success, and it may go far beyond reducing healthcare costs.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Rose. For World at Work TV, I'm Allison Avalos.